Okay, so we'll start, I think. Okay, so good evening. I am Shudra Sadhavan. I'm a PhD student at IIT Bombay. I'm your facilitator for the 7th weekly interactive session of C86 or Water Economics and Governance offered by NPTEL and taken by the course instructor Dr. Manoj Kumar Tiwari of Water School of IIT Kharagpur. Okay, so we are at the 7th week, that is up to previous one. 50% is covered, 50% of the 12 sessions. So that's why a survey has been floated in your course portal. So you can, I will just, I believe my entire screen is visible. So I will quickly go that from where you can access this. So inside your you have to go to my courses. So there you will see the water economics and governance. So within that, you have to go to course, and at the left hand side, there are under the problem solving session, there is one link called the survey on problem solving session. So you can click on that, and there is the link. So, and also in the PPT, it is given. So we'd like to know the whether the expectation with which you are attending the session are being met or not. So please take 2 minutes to fill the feedback form. The link is given below, and it will tremendously help us for gauging your experience. And also within the feedback form, if you go there, you will see that there are options for giving feedback or suggestions, if any. So whether to include or exclude something in the session or not. and overall rating you can give, and also uh, other ratings. I mean, it is strongly encouraged that you should fill this session. So I'll just quickly see that how many people have joined. So only Ajim has joined. So if more number of people have joined, I would have given time you now only to fill it up, because it will not be going to me or the course instructor, any of us. It will be anonymous with respect to us. So no, don't worry about that. Whatever marking you are giving, so it will directly go to the NPTEL team, and based on the team's suggestion, we will have to modify or keep the same uh, uh, the way the sessions we are conducting. Okay, so it is highly encouraged that you should fill this form. Okay, so today's session is basically, as we have almost covered 50% of the syllabus. So today, mostly in the first half, we will have a recap kind of MCQ. So whatever you have done until now, whatever you have studied through lectures given by sir, those things will be discussed through MCQs. This will be a recapitulation session in the first hour of today's session. Okay, so the first MCQ for is as follows. The main concern of water planners in allocation of water among competing uses is option A, maximizing profits through financial returns. Option B, obtaining optimum value in terms of market and welfare measures. Option C is providing more water supply for economically higher class as they can pay more. And option D is providing free water services to poor class consumers. Uh, I'll wait for a minute. You can type your answer in the chat box. I think no other has joined yet. Okay, in the meantime, let's hope people will join. So I think Infinity Mirror is happening because I wanted to show the link. So that's why I actually shared my enter screen. Let me reshare it. So with only the slideshow. Uh, okay, so I think now it is clear. Yes. Hmm. You can give type your answer in the chat box. Ashim. Actually, you are from PhD background, so this entire course I think is kind of easy going for you. But people who should join the online sessions, those who are from BTech background or a diploma background, so they should join the session more. So they are not joining. It is, I mean, they should join live. They should interact lively, so that any doubt if they have. But you and also other students who are joining regularly, most of you are from either master's background or either doing PhD or you have industrial experience. So the entire course is kind of easy going for you. I mean, at least the problems solving in the problem solving there is not. I don't think the equations those are used for solving those problems are very difficult. I don't think so. For people who are either from master's background or doing PhD or have done industry job. Okay, I think I'll give the answer. So Uh, so maximizing the profits through water service may not contribute in welfare of all sections of the society. So the main concern of water planners is to allocate water to obtain optimum value in terms of market and or welfare measures, because the I mean the aim of the water supplying agencies are not same as the other profit making organizations, because water is an essential commodity. So only maximizing will not I mean it is not desirable. So but profit must be made also. So actually you have to optimize the profit based on the welfare and also your financial aspect. So both must be taken care of. So the market and welfare measures both are important in our case. So option B is correct. Now the core objective of Namani Gange program, I think it is from the initial classes. If you have attended those lectures of that, so you will be able to answer. So option A is pollution abatement and rejuvenation of river Ganga. Option B is developing major irrigation based projects beside the river Ganga. Option C is establishing major hydroelectric projects on river Ganga, and option D is none of the above. Or also, and another option can be added here, that is all of the above, all of A and B and C. You may take it as option E. So all of the A, B, and C. I forgot to add this an option. Maybe instead of none of the above, if I consider it as all of the above, that would be uh, more relevant, because most of the options are almost convincing. So there is a possibility that all maybe I mean at least one of them are definitely, I think, will be the objective of the program. But whether it is core objective or not, okay, we are telling as E or A pollution. I don't. Okay, so we can edit it as all of the, though it is not the option by the way, but I don't think that Manantep is a nearby option. Uh, so the thing is that uh, the program is an integrated conservation mission approved as flagship program by the Union government in the June 2024 2014 uh, to accomplish the twin objectives, that is effective abatement of pollution, conservation and rejuvenation of river Ganga. Though the other options, that is B and C, are convincing, but they are not the core objective of the program. So option, yes, core option is option A. Okay. So I mean, I chose this option because this should be much more I mean convincing to people, for people to go to the with that option. But none of the above will definitely not be the answer. So one can, I mean, by mere common sense, one can delete that option. Okay. Now The water utility, the next MCQ is of a town. It is basically a problem where uh, the the water tariff, which is based on the utility, that is increased at the rate of 6%, which saw a reduction in the demand from 16 mld to 14 mld. So you have to calculate the price elasticity of demand. We have actually similarly one problem, which is the elasticity. We have actually calculated one problem based on the elasticity at our last class. So there we have seen that elasticity is nothing but the ratio between two changes. So the options are A is 1.28, B is 0.48, C is 0.125, and D is 1.75. So here also, if you can see, but in case of such elasticity or modulus, the change ratios within that change ratio, actually mod value is taken. So either you can, if you just tell me the correct mod value, that will be a that will be your correct answer actually. So if even if you put a minus sign on that, I mean, I will not take care. I will not take that as a wrong option. So you just can calculate it. Just the mod value will match. So it is nothing but the ratio between two changes. Here they are asking to calculate the price elasticity of the demand based on the demand. So you can understand that which change will be in the uh, numerator and which change will be in the denominator. So you can calculate it and put it in the chat box. Jobin has joined. So good evening. We just went through a couple of simple MCQs. It is basically a recapitulation of whatever you have studied until now. So in the first hour, we will go through the MCQs based on whatever you have studied until now entirely, and also you are highly suggested that you should fill up the suggestion form that will be that is given in the on your portal also, and that will be uploaded. I mean, in the slides, the link is there, so slides will be uploaded. From there also you can access that feedback form. So you can calculate it and put it in the chat box, the value, or you may unmute and say the option. Here it is basically ratio between two changes. Elasticity means ratio between two changes. You have to calculate the price elasticity. So the thing is that uh, your price will be in the numerator, and demand, the change in demand, that will be in the denominator. Delta change divided by initial, delta change divided by initial. So you can here simply uh, the uh, the increase in the price, that is the water tariff based on the water utility, that is given in percentage, and you can calculate the demand percentage change in the demand. So here demand is getting decreased, but as I told, it is you have to take the mod value. So based on the initial demand, which was 16 mld, based on that only you have to calculate the percentage change in demand. Though it will be negative, you can take the mod value, and then just the ratio of that two, that will be the price elasticity of demand. Okay, yes, you have given the correct answer, Rajiv. So So it is data is given as it has been reduced by 2 mld. So if you just do this sum, so 2 mld divided by 16, it will be your 1 by 8, I think. Yes, so 1 by 8 into 100, it will be your 12.5%. That will be your uh, change in demand in percentage, and 6% is your price change in price or water tariff. So the ratio between the two is 0.68, and as a correct answer, option B is the correct answer. Okay. So the next MCQ is major issues in water sector in India include. It is again from your initial 2 or 3 classes. So option A is deteriorating quality of water resources due to anthropogenic activities. Option B is a reduction in per person freshwater availability due to increase in population. Option C is a lack of effective infrastructures for ensuring efficient water services. And option D is all of the above. So which one is the major issue in water sector in India? Yes, option D you are telling. Okay, Jobin left or what? Okay. So the thing is that I mean, I have to put the attendance, though it will not calculate any marks or something. So for the sake of recording, I am saying. So I just put the attendance in such a way that some people also joins in the middle. So those people who are joining at least for 10 or 15 minutes, I expect them to watch the uh, rest of the things. Either they should go through the slides, or they should attend the lecture. I mean, attend the recording in the YouTube. So I actually take the all of them. So those whoever attending for at least 10 or 15 minutes. So I actually take their attendance also and put all of them actually. So some people will join in the middle for 15 minutes or 20 minutes or so, and they will leave. So I'll count their attendance. Okay. We'll go through the explanation. So yes, so all the listed issues are prominent in India. All of the above is the correct answer. If more people joins, they can ask questions. So if they have problem in certain options, so they will ask question on that. So that's why it is the idea. So otherwise, just I'll go with the answers. So that may not be. I mean, some people may later, whenever they will be watching, they may some questions may arrive in their mind. But if they don't attend live sessions, so that will be difficult for them to answer. Though they can ask later in forum. So till now, I also watched. So after third week or fourth week, I don't see any question in the forum. So it's okay. No problem with that. So later also, Shadow will be conducting 2 live sessions in the YouTube. There they can ask the questions. Okay. So now you have to rearrange in correct order uh, based on the economic analysis procedure of a water supply project. Now, the number one is the survey of existing facilities, uses and constraints, if any. Number two is least cost analysis with economic price and choice of alternative. Option three is demand analysis and forecasting. And these are not option actually. This is not MCQ. And number four is identifying gap between future demand and existing facilities after optimum use. During doing economic analysis of a water supply project, you have to follow several steps. So here 4 steps are given. So you have to read, but these are not in the correct order, may or may not be in the correct order. So you have to give the correct order. That is what should be done first, what should be done last, like that way. Okay. Thank you for the compliment. So you can ask, you can tell the order, which is the correct order. You were there, so Ajib, you can just if if people don't skip those recordings, they just if they just sit back and relax and they just go through the uh, recording without pausing or skipping or something. So the time I am giving, so that will be beneficial for them just to remember or analyze and give the answer of the question. So they don't have to pause the video or something. So that will be beneficial for them. Okay, so that's why I'm waiting actually. Otherwise, I can just quickly go through these. And also, I have prepared certain number of questions, and that the entire time that is to be utilized. So that's why. Okay, so you have, I think one is, I think it is correct. Okay, we'll see for the sake of recording. First, survey of existing facilities, uses and constraints will give an overview of water utilization. Further, doing demand analysis and forecasting can help to compare it with the previous utilization data, and that can help in identifying the gaps if required. Then, choosing of alternative and performing economic pricing is important. I think the order you have provided, one is yes, yes. So order is correct. Survey of existing facilities will be the first, and the last will be the least cost analysis and choice of alternative. So I think the flow of logic is pretty clear here. So I don't think it needs any explanation further. Okay. Now the conventional sources for water supply include which one of the following? Option A is only rivers and lakes. Option B is rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Option C is groundwater and rainwater, and option D is river, lakes, groundwater, and recycled sewage. Uh, so all of them actually can be the sources for water supply. But what is the conventional sources? That is what they are asking. There actually may be doubt in that question because in uh, terms of I mean the groundwater, this can be conventional in uh, in your villages, but in cities, that may not be a conventional source. The thing is that in most of the cities are located beside the rivers and lakes, so that's why the treatment actually the river water or lake water is treated and then supplied to the city by the municipal corporation. So those are the conventional sources, but in villages may not be located beside a river. So that's why groundwater is considered as a conventional source there. And rainwater and recycled sewage, these are new concept. I don't think there will be any problem. But as we consider that India to be a very old civilization, and if you go to the time of Aryas and all, so then we can think of that though the Indus civilization was situated at your east west side at the northwest side of India. So still it is not now a part of India. So it is in Pakistan. So we can consider India's civilization as to be a village centric civilization, and we can consider the groundwater and surface waters like rivers and lakes both to be the conventional sources for water supply. So, and this is pretty clear that rainwater and recycled sewage are considered as alternative sources. So option B we can consider as the uh, conventional sources for water supply. But yes, if we consider only the city-based areas of India, so there we may not consider the groundwater as the conventional source, but to consider India as a whole, uh, to consider the world as a whole in general, so we can consider the groundwater to be a conventional source because rivers and lakes, the water lakes may be situated. Some lakes are salty, some lakes are not salty. So those lakes, just like Mansarovar, that is a lake which is situated in your, it is a freshwater lake basically, and your uh, or Akshastal, those kind of lakes which are there in the Tibet, and Chilka Lake, those type of sub lakes are basically your saltwater lakes. So and river water also considers river water also consists of considerable amount of +2 ions. That is your basically your hardness causing ions. So reverse waters and lakes water definitely requires treatment before supply, but groundwater may contain iron arsenic, but conventionally it doesn't. It is actually directly used for household purposes, or for there are tube wells in rural areas, so where they pump the groundwater and directly they can, or there may be submersible pumps, so through which they directly use those groundwater for their for drinking purpose or household purpose. So it uh, can be considered as a conventional source if we consider India as a whole or world in general. Okay, so the next MCQ is under limited resource availability, allocating water to one project deny the possibility of allocating water for some other projects. In the cost analysis, this is considered through capital recovery factor. Option B, resource conservation cost. Option C, opportunity cost, and option D is environmental maintenance cost. Uh, hmm, so, okay, opportunity. I think it is correct answer you have given. So I'll go with the solution. Committing resources, those are limited to only one project, may deny the possibility of allocating the resource in some other project, which is considered through the opportunity cost. So your option is correct. Now the next MCQ is, in a hydrological basin, precipitation is considered equal to. So this is basically your water balance equation that we did in maybe the fourth or fifth class, I think. So it is equal to, option A is runoff minus evapotranspiration minus infiltrations into other water pockets, which is basically outfiltration with respect to this hydrological basin, plus minus change in storage, because storage change I mean the water height of that hydrological basin may decrease or increase. So that's why both plus minus sign is there. Option B is evapotranspiration plus infiltration minus runoff minus delta S. Option C is evapotranspiration plus runoff minus infiltration plus minus delta S. And option D is runoff plus evapotranspiration plus infiltrations plus minus delta S. So basically, in a hydrological basin, there are actually four components: runoff, evapotranspiration, infiltration, and change in storage. So all the four options are either uh, imparting water into that hydrological basin or taking water out of that hydrological basin. So if precipitation is imparting water into that hydrological basin. In the other side of the equation, you have to consider which of the sources is imparting water into that hydrological basin as positive, and which is taking out water of that hydrological basin as negative. So it is your basically rain or precipitation you can consider. And this is one side of the equation, and the other side of equation, it will be again positive. So positive on the factors which is actually imparting water, and or you may say sorry, I mean in the same side of equation it will be positive, and in the other side of or if it is in the other side, then it will be negative, or whichever is taking out water of that basin. So basically you can see that precipitation is imparting water inside and runoff is taking water out. So if the other terms are zero, then precipitation minus runoff must be zero. That means precipitation will be equal to runoff. In the same side of equation, it will be opposite side, but other side it will be positive. And similarly, you have to consider the other factors. So runoff positive means the option B gets ruled out, and all the options change in storage is plus minus. So in this way, you have to consider. So I'll just see if you have given any answer or not. Okay, option D you have given, and I think it is correct. Because all of the factors like evapotranspiration and infiltrations into external pockets also, these are outflows. So that's why the water balance for a hydrological basin is given by precipitation equals to runoff plus evapotranspiration plus infiltrations into other pockets, which is basically outfiltration with respect to this hydrological basin, plus minus any storage, and option D is the correct answer. That's why. Okay. So now you have to identify true false statement. So which one of the following statement is true? Statement one is financial benefit cost analysis evaluates the effect of a project on the water sector and or utility by providing projected balance, income and resources and applications of fund statements. Statement 2 is there is no difference between financial benefit cost analysis and economic benefit cost analysis. So if both are true or none are true or at least one of them are true. Good evening, Projokta Pajare. You can, okay, Ajim has answered. Projokta has also can also answer. You can type your answer in the chat box. Okay, I think Ajim has given it. Ajim has given correct answer, so I'll go with the answer. Financial benefit cost analysis evaluates the effect of a project on the water sector and or utility by providing projected balance, income and resources and applications of fund statements, while economic benefit cost analysis evaluates the project from the viewpoint of the entire economy So it can be distinguished from the financial benefit cost analysis, and that implies the statement true is false and statement one is true, which you have correctly said. Okay. So next there is one MCQ. What are the traditional three R's of sustainable development? It is a very common question. Option A is reduce, reuse, reserve. Option B is reduce, reuse, recycle. Option C is recycle, repeat, reuse. And option D is reserve, recycle, and reuse. It is very common, not very common in terms of, I mean, sustainable development is a new topic, but people who are having an industrial experience, so they frequently hear these three R's. Uh, because companies are nowadays companies actually there are business to business type of companies. So for those companies, they are having clients. So those clients only order certain things to that companies, those who follow the different types of certification. For example, certification which are based on stewardship of environmental resources such as water. Uh, so there are actually also power in terms of energy. So there are energy stewardship, power. Energy means energy consists two things. One, majorly two things. One is thermic fluids, water, and not water. Thermic fluids, steam, and your electrical energy. And also water is a separate department on its own. So there are concepts of zero liquid discharge. So based on and also solid waste recovery. So based on all the aspects or all the resources, several international organizations are there who conduct audits, just like ISO, International Standardization Organization. So there are many type of stewardship, and there are also ISO this 9001, 3001. This type of numbers are there. So who provides different kinds of certification based on which type of stewardship you are following. So these three R concept comes frequently into the picture. Yes. So now they are introducing this 5R concept also. So yes. So refuse and recovery into account. Yes, definitely. Yeah, you said it correctly. So yes, uh, I think you have answered it correctly, because the reservation, this is basically not a responsibility of that plant itself. So these are responsibility of the entire public body. They can set norms that you should take in terms of water. They can take norms that you are having, let's say 15 uh, million 15 tons of product from your plant. So based on that product, they can set norms that this much amount of water you can fresh water you can withdraw from uh, the river or lake, whatever, and the rest amount of water either you have to collect by the rainwater reservation, or you have to recycle uh, whatever you are from your effluent treatment plant, whatever water you are treating there. So there you have to recycle. So that is the thing. So the plant responsibility is reduce, reuse, and recycle only. So option B is the correct answer. And also the reject and recovery, the fiber concept is also coming into the picture nowadays, as you have correctly said. Okay. So now we'll go to the again you have to identify. There are two statements. You have to identify the incorrect one which is based on discounting. Statement one is discounting the future cash flow reflects the time value of money, and statement two is higher discount rate means higher is the present value of future cash flows. There is a very good book of Robert Kiyosaki, who is uh, who is an honorable doctorate also. Some university offered him honorable doctorate also based on whatever work he has done. Yes, it is his first book. The Rich Dad and Poor Dad is his first book. So later he has also wrote several books like Business of the 21st Century, and one of the popular books of him is also, it is his second book, I think, Cash Flow Quadrant. So I will suggest, yes. If you have not read that book, I'll suggest you should read, because the thing is that in India the conventional job scenarios are getting shorter day by day. It is not a fault of anyone, fault neither it is fault of the government, because the population explosion is occurring. So I mean, most whatever we do, so we actually study for higher degrees in colleges. So after that, if we are doing certain entrepreneurship, then actually it will also create job opportunity for others, and it will also simultaneously it will benefit our future generations also. So I'll suggest, I mean, these are good books in terms of financial education, which are basically not taught in our schools. So I'll suggest, in business schools obviously these are taught, but in our conventional engineering colleges and uh, conventional schools these are not taught. So I'll suggest, if you get time you can read those books like Research Porter and CFQ, Cash Flow Quadrant. So, and in this question you have to identify the incorrect one. Just from the term of cash flow I just remembered. So I think after this question, I think we can take a 10 minutes break, and we can come back at 7 o'clock sharp. So I think we can answer the question after the break itself. Okay. So we'll be returning at uh, 7 o'clock sharp. 8 or 9 minutes break we'll take. Good evening, Ashish. We're at the middle of the session. We're taking break. We'll join at 7 o'clock. This question that is being displayed, you can try to answer it. Good evening. How many people are there? Okay, only Ozim and Ashish. Someone. Otherwise, you can join at 7 o'clock. Do you think it is incorrect? Okay, we'll see. I think it is correct. Only. Discount rate means discount rate is higher. So basically, the explanation is as follows: the higher the discount rate, the lower is the present value of future cash flows. So whatever you answered initially, answered initially, that was basically correct. We have not started yet. We will start just discussing. At 7 o'clock, we'll start. According to the question, yes, understood. Understood. So option two is correct based on the question because they are asking about the incorrect statement. Yes, definitely. Okay, so it is 7 now. I think we are back. Can start the answering the question. So statement one is true and statement two is false according to the question. So Ashish has given it correctly, the answer. Ajim and other, I think, got back. Okay, so I think we can proceed. So the whatever we have discussed until now, this was basically your recapitulation of whatever of the last six sessions you may consider it as like that, or up to the sixth week, whatever Sir has discussed in his lecture slides. So uh, next MCQ for you. Now at the end of this session, also today's session, we will solve a few. So there are one or two more recapitulation questions I think are there. So at the end of the session, we will solve couple of problems also. Okay. So the next MCQ is what is the full form of NRW? Nothing else. So it is typically used for assigning system efficiency of water utilities, and it stands for option A non-revenue water, option B is non-renewable water, option C non-rechargeable water, and option D is non-reachable water. So I think most of you know the answer. I will not wait for it much. So NRW is basically your non-revenue water. It is water that has been produced and is lost before it reaches the customer. So losses can be real losses, which occurs through leaks, and these are sometimes also called as physical losses, or losses may be apparent losses. For example, through theft or metering inaccuracies. But all the losses don't actually, those are basically lost, and because those are not those don't contribute towards the non towards the revenue of the water supplying agency. So that's why those are considered as the non-revenue water, or in short, inert. Okay, so option A is correct. Now here you have to match the following options with respect to methods to determine willingness to pay. So option A is indirect methods. In the left hand column, there are proxy measures and there are direct methods, and in the right hand side, the right hand column, there is conducting willingness to pay surveys, then analyzing how much people are spending for alternatives, example water vending, and the third one is analyzing what people are paying in other cities for similar level of water services. So you'll just have to say the right hand order, or left hand order. You can write it in the chat box, or you can, yeah. The last option was option A, non-revenue water. So Jobin again has joined. So it is just a match the column question. Uh, it is, I think it is based on a pretty bit new concepts. Some old concepts are actually the MCQs are jumbled up a bit, I think. We'll solve a few problems also at the end, because you may get bored with MCQs only. So 2, 3, 1 you are telling. 2 with the indirect one. 3 you are telling analyzing. This goes with B you are telling proxy methods. And 1 is conducting willingness to pay service. I think one should be, because survey conducting and based on which people, what people are waiting wanting, based on which I'll uh, uh, I mean, that is basically what they are willing to pay. So basically that is only your willingness to pay method. So that should be the direct method, I think. Okay, we'll see the options. I think C goes with one. Yes, yes, you have said it correctly. Now two and three with the proxy measures and the uh, indirect method. So I think it will be like this way. So the proxy measures goes with analyzing how much people are spending for alternative, example water vending, and indirect method goes with analyzing what people are paying in other cities for similar level of water services. So direct method actually it is analyzing what people in your city are willing to pay and what in other cities people are paying. Based on that, you are assuming that in your city also people will actually wish to pay whatever. I mean, their mentality is similar to the other cities. So this is actually basically your indirect method. So that's why, because because the other city may have conducted the survey, but you are utilizing their results uh, to be true for in your city also. So that's why it is basically your indirect method. Now proxy goes with the rest one, which is analyzing how much people are spending for alternatives, example water vending. So where the alternative methods basically being used as a proxy for your uh, direct survey. So instead of conducting direct survey, you are not indirectly using other cities results, but in your city also only you are utilizing you are using the expenditure nature of people for other alternatives as a proxy to determine the, uh, to determine the willingness to pay. Okay, so that's why it is a proxy measure. Now, so the thing is that whenever some thing is giving someone, for example, if you are attending in class and your friend is not attending that class, he or she told you to give you proxy attendance. That means he or she is not attending and you are actually giving attendance on behalf of him or her. That is illegal, but that is the meaning of proxy basically. So here you are utilizing the survey result in direct method, but in proxy method, instead of utilizing the survey, you are uh, utilizing the value which are other alternatives. And indirect method is the same thing, the direct method only, but for from the other cities. So you yourself didn't conduct the survey. So indirectly, you are using those results only, but you are using those them indirectly from other cities. That's why. Okay. Now the next MCQ is, though the thing is that it is very confusing. So they are kind of remembering, you may say. So they are, you may see that the other cities result you are using, you may look it as a proxy thing. So but they are calling it it as a proxy. They are calling the alternative as the proxy. Okay. Now we'll go to the next MCQ. So in developing countries like India, the sector that consume the highest amount of fresh water is it is also recapitulation. So domestic industry, power, and agriculture. Which sector consumes the highest amount of fresh water in India, for developing countries in India? I think this question also we gave in yes, this question also we gave in discussed in a one of the previous sessions. Uh, so agriculture is the highest water consuming sector in developing countries. and so is the case in India. Now, which one of the following following statements below is not correct about benefit cost analysis? So we'll solve certain problems later based on the cost analysis. So option A is the likely benefits and costs are estimated and weighted against each other. Option B is both costs and benefits of a project should eventually be estimated and communicated in commensurable units. Option C is typically in financial benefit cost analysis, the unit of investigation is the project. And option D is in case of multiple alternatives, the project with lowest benefit cost ratio is most sustainable. You are telling D for this question, or I think it is the last question. Okay. Jovin can also answer. D. Okay, go to the solution. In case of multiple alternatives with lowest benefit cost ratio is in the most suitable. So D is incorrect because in the question it has been asked which one of the below is not correct about benefit cost analysis. But you should remember the points, the A, B, and C. These are all true for benefit cost analysis. So the different benefits and costs are estimated and weighed against each other. This is true for benefit cost analysis. Both costs and benefits of a project should eventually be estimated. Costs and benefits and communicated in commensurable units, that is basically your measurable units. Costs in rupees in India, and benefits maybe in terms of financial terms also, or it may be in terms of abstract terms also, but it is commonly used in financial terms only because it is more easy to measure and compare also. But always it is not uh, in your currency terms. It is not possible to express, but whichever is possible, that are actually expressed. And in financial benefits cost analysis, the unit of investigation is the project itself. So these three are all true for the benefit cost analysis. Okay. So the next MCQ is the typical range in liters of water consumed by a person in a day to fulfill the domestic needs. This is basically, if you remember or not, to look whether you remember or not. Option A is 250 to 350. It is the unit is per capita liters per day (LPD). Option B is 100 to 200. Option C is 700 to 900. Option D is 400 to 600. All units are in three digits, so these are uh, values are pretty near. But I mean, it may, for example, if let's say 400 to 600 is the answer, so it may come below 400 also, but it may go beyond 600 also. But what is considered as a reliable design basis? So if there are, let's say, 1,000 people in a city, so if you consider the range, if this is the correct answer, and if you, let's say, consider the range as 500 or 550, let's say, so then based on that, if you design the entire system, that will be sustainable, that will be beneficial for your meeting the demands, varying demands of people on average. So basically that. So individual, if you look individually, so then their consumption may be lower than that, their consumption may be higher than that range, which is the answer. But on an average, this may be considered as a reliable design basis. Per capita, LPD is like that. So let's see whether you remember it or not. Okay, Wajim has given the answer. Jobin has left. So this is correct answer. The typical per head water demand ranges between 100 to 200 LP. You remember it correctly. Now, what will be this is a problem basically. So what will be the equivalent annual value in rupees if the time specific capital recovery factor, in short CRSP suffix T, is 0.24 and the present value of net benefit is rupees 40,000. You have to calculate the equivalent annual value. The CRF or capital recovery factor is given as 0.24 and the net benefit is given as 40,000. So only these two data are given, plus minus divided by to the power or something operation will be applied, I think. Option A is 5,400, option B is 9,600, option C is 30,400, and option D is 52,000 and 630. So you can calculate it and write your answer in the chat box. So actually there is the one concept. So these two data you have written, I think 0.24 and 40,000. So there is the concept of the capital recovery factor. So what is it basically? As per this article of Science Today, you can click it in your in the uploaded slides. You will get it. So the formal definition is it is basically a ratio used to calculate present value of an annuity. What is annuity? It is a series of equal annual cash flows. Now, it is useful to estimate monthly payments for loans. CRF is expressed as A divided by PR, where A is your monthly payment, PR is your initial investment or loan. So when this concept is basically your relevant, for example, if you want to invest in your let's say in your PPF account, public provident fund account, annual. So at the end, from April to March, it is your financial year, and within at the end of the next financial year, let's say you want to invest 1.5 lakhs because it is the maximum investment amount in your PPF. So then what you do throughout the year, in each month, you may let's say set up an RD account, that is your recurring deposit account in your bank, and you may set it in such a way that let's say 12,400 or 12,500 or so, it will get deducted from your account in each month, and at the end of the financial year you will get a lump sum amount which will be your approximately 1.5 lakhs. So that is your basically throughout, because there are interest rates are also there. So because these so the amount which gets deducted, that is 12,400 or 500 or so, that gets deducted in the initial month. So that is paid to the highest interest, and the amount that gets at the, let's say, 11th or 12th, that that gets the lowest interest. So this kind of structure, which is utilized in your RD account, that is called the recurring deposit account in your bank. So that is called the annuity. The monthly installments are called annuity. So monthly installments. But if after 1 year, that is your, let's say, some amount is there. What is that is including the interests. But if you exclude those interests, then if you just calculate, because money value increases with time, if you just calculate those all those I mean deposits you did in terms of their present value, that is except those interest. So then the P is your called the present sum of money. So here in our case, the CRF, that is your capital recovery factor, it is expressed in terms of time. It is time specific. So that means your CRF divided by T, the time. So here it will be your A by P, and A the A term will not be monthly payment in our case. It will be your annual present value. So whatever deposits you did, the annual present value, it will be it will, the actually they are asking the A, I think. So in the problem they are asking the equivalent annual value. Yes, the A only they are asking, nothing else. If the I N these values are given, so then the problem would become much more complicated. The only thing is that here you have to utilize the CRF T equals to A by P. This formula only you have to utilize. So you have Ajim has calculated it correctly, I think. So here the CRF T, that is your capital recovery factor, which is here time specific. So that's why the I N those values are not given. But the problem may be complicated, maybe made complicated. So that's why I introduced that problem. So it is your equivalent annual value you have to calculate based on your CRFT. So it is CRFT equals to A by P. That means A equals to P into CRFT. That means your 40,000 into 0.24 equals to 96,000. Option B is the correct answer. Okay. Now, next MCQ is the process by means which water continually changes its forms and circulates between land, oceans, and atmosphere is called as option A is hydrological cycle, option B is tides, option C is ocean currents, and option D is moisture recycling. I think you will be able to answer that. Yes, you have answered it correctly. So the hydrological cycle of the earth is the sum total of all processes in which water moves from land and ocean surface to the atmosphere and back in the form of precipitation. So here precipitation means both water and also in the upon the glaciers there are precipitation in the form of let's say your snow. So precipitation means water in some form is coming from uh, atmosphere to the either the land or ocean surface by means of gravity. So hydrological cycle is the correct answer. Okay. So now we will solve a problem. So a supply, this is a cost related problem. A supply demand relation for a town is given in the adjacent figure. So the output or Q in small in capital Q it is expressed as so you can assume any unknown factor you want. So it is expressed as in MLD, that is again megaliters per day or million liters per day, and price in rupees thousands, that means 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, like that way. It is in the y-axis, and these are the supply and demand curves. Now, if the current demand is 12 MLD, that is here, and the price is kept at rupees 20 per kiloliter, that is your this one, 20 per kiloliter, then you have to answer the below questions. Option 1 is you have to calculate the total willingness to pay at water demand of 12 MLD. The answer must be in thousands of rupees. Option yes, number 2, you have to calculate the consumer surplus for a current demand of 12 MLD in 1000 rupees, and again in 1000 rupees. Number 3, you have to calculate the total cost of utility for supplying 12 MLD of water. That means from 0 to 12, if your output varies, then 0 to 12, so then what will be your willingness to pay the consumer surplus and the total cost of utilities in thousands of rupees. All the three you have to calculate uh, in uh, in this unit. Actually, you have to calculate. Okay, so I'll wait for some minutes for you to calculate these values. Only Ojim is there again. You can I'll wait for 5 minutes. You can calculate one by one. At 7:30, we will start solving the problem. So the thing is that here uh, the it is important to note that the supply curve and the demand curve is itself meeting at this point, which they are telling that it is. They are also asking the answer at that point, where the supply is also 12 mld and the demand is also 12 mld, and your price is also kept at 20. So here the two curves, the supply curve and the demand curve, is crossing each other. So you have to cost up to this crossword point. At a water demand, at a current demand, or at a supply rate of 12 mld, these three parameters means willingness to pay, consumer surplus, and total cost of utility. All these means then whenever the supply or demand, whichever, varies from 0 to 12, then what will be your all the three parameters. So that you have to calculate. We'll solve the problem at 7:30. You can take 3 more minutes to answer, to calculate the values based on the graph. And if you don't know the what willingness to pay, you have already known what is basically your willingness to pay. And during, if you don't know the consumers, what does this mean? Total cost of utility, what does this mean? Consumer surplus. So while solving the problem, we'll discuss. Then you can just calculate the first one itself. Then the rest of the terminologies, we will see that what these actually mean during solving that problem. We'll see that there are specific expressions for these actually. I mean, even if from your common sense also, you can feel that what does this basically means, because I have already mentioned. So it is not at 12, it is up to 12. The, the water demand, the willingness to pay at 12 mld, the consumer surplus at 12 mld, the total cost of utility at 12 mld, means you have to calculate the value up to 12, from 0 to 12, because the demand or supply may vary. The price, so accordingly the price will also vary, either the supply price or demand. What is basically the supply price or demand price? So what is basically meant by the uh, graphs basically, because in the y-axis there is price. So the graphs represents nothing but price as a function of the water flow rate, water volumetric flow rate. So the two graphs are basically your uh, price functions in terms of water flow rate. It may be demand or it may be your supply. it is a bit, I mean, the other two are a bit confusing. What is consumer surplus and what is total cost equity in terms, if in terms of how to conceptualize that from the graph. It is a bit complicated. But the first one, willingness to pay. Willingness to pay basically means your demand, because whatever the demand is, that means the people are willing to pay that. At least here in this problem, it is assumed, because here are only two curves are there: supply curve and demand curve. No, if there are something like willingness to pay curve or something, then it would mean something else. But here the other no other curves are given. So that's why here whatever people are demanding, that means they are willing to pay for their demand. So those two are similar in terminologies based on the graph, whatever is given. So I think we can go with the solution. So uh, basically, so now first one, you have to calculate the total willingness to pay. I told you it is basically at 12 MLD. So up to 12 MLD you have to calculate that. There is basically a formula is there. So whatever your willingness to pay based on here, whatever the graphs is there, your the willingness is your demand. So whatever demand is there, that means people is willing to pay for that. People are mentally ready to pay for that demand. So here at 12 MLD you have to calculate that. That means you have to integrate the demand graph from 0 to 12 MLD to calculate the willingness to pay with respect to DQ. DQ is your basically your output in megaliters per day. So those of you who don't understand integration, so that means your area under the demand curve. So at 12 MLD you have to calculate. That means you have to basically integrate. You have to calculate this area under the demand curve. So why it is demand function? Because sometimes demand here we can see that demand is linear, but demand may not be linear. Sometimes it may be like that this way. Sometimes it may be like this way. Sometimes it may be convex, concave uh, with respect to the origin. So that means your so that means the demand function may not always be linear, but here the demand function is linear. So that's why the area under the demand curve, which is this area expressed between these two lines, so it is your the calculation of the area is pretty easier in our case. So what is it? We can see that this area is represented by a trapezium, which has the parallel which has which is actually having four lines, is covered by four lines. These in the perimeter of that trapezium there are four lines, and within the four lines these two are the parallel lines. These two lines are not parallel to each other. So the area of the trapezium is expressed as half of the two lines which are parallel to each other, half of the summation of the two lines which are parallel to each other, that is your half of 40 plus 20. This is the summation, because this line is your 0 to 40. This line value is 40, and this line value it is given as your 20. So that's why summation of 40 plus 20 into the distance, the linear the perpendicular distance between those two lines, that is your 12. So area under the demand curve from 0 to 12, it will be your rupees 360,000 only. If you solve this, it will come out to be rupees 360. So I think it is clear. Now, mm, option in the second question, it was asked that you have to calculate the consumer surplus. So it is expressed as this one. Actually, this one is means the total willingness to pay. So actually we can just so in one, it is your basically the number one. That means the willingness to pay minus cost of water actually paid by consumers. So it is 360 minus 240. Why? This 240 is basically at if the output is 12 mld, because we have to calculate it at 12 mld, and in the question it is given as at 12 mld the cost is your 20 per kiloliter. So that's why we are just multiplying those two. So I think there is one problem with the unit. So it is 12 mld and it is per kl. So if we multiply, please check this whether I have calculated it correctly or not. So if we multiplied 12 with 20, so it is mld or it is kiloliter per kiloliter. So then it is 10 to the power 6 and it is 10 to the power 3. So that means your if it becomes 10 to the power 6, then it becomes also 20 into 10 to the power 3. So that means 20 into 10 to the power 3 into 12. That means your 240 this much thousands, because it is 240 into 10 to the power 3. That means yes. So I think it is correct. So this is expressed in thousands and this is also expressed in thousands. This is your willingness to pay, and this is actually what they are paying. So cost of water actually paid by the customers. So surplus means the uh, the excess amount. So it is basically subtracted. The actually pay whatever they are paying, that gets subtracted to the willingness to pay. So that means your 120,000 only. What is graphically the what area actually graphically what is represented by this 120? So it is basically nothing but your the area which is represented by this triangle. I believe my result pointer is visible. So if you also calculate the area of the triangle itself, then it will be half into 12 into 20 to 40. That means 20. So half into 12 into 20 means 6 into 20. So that in that way also, if you calculate, it will be 120. So this area, the rectangle, this rectangle represents your cost of water paid by customer, and this trapezium represents your willingness to pay. So if you subtract the area of the rectangle from the area of the trapezium, then the area of the triangle is left. So it is your surplus quantity or consumer surplus. I think it is clear from the graph also, and from conceptual point of view also. So it is actually your consumer surplus. Okay. Now option 3, it was asked as total cost of utility. Total cost of utility, just like your willingness to pay, there was demand function. In your cost of utility, there is supply function. Why? Because Utility means the your whatever cost is incurred by the supplying or treatment agencies for producing or supplying that amount of water. So there may be pumps, there may be your electricity costs, there may be your ion exchange units or whatever. So to maintain those things, whatever the cost is incurred by the supplying agency or by the treatment agency, by the body which is associated with the service, water service. So whatever cost is incurred to them, that is your called the cost of utility. And why it is related with the supply function? Because whatever your whatever equipment you're there. For example, if you are having three pumps, each of them can supply a water of 12 meter cube per hour. Then you can supply water up to maximum of 3 into 12, that is 36 meter cube per hour only. So based on your utility, only you can supply the water. So your supply is directly related to the utility. Just in that case, so your demand function was related with your willingness to pay. Whatever the demand is there, that means that only they are demanding because they are willing to pay for that. So similarly, your supply function is also related with your cost for your utility. So as here the supply function is expressed in terms of cost. So that's why it is related with your cost for utility. So I hope it is clear. So that's why to calculate the cost, because they have this much of utility only to supply only this much of water. So that's why to calculate the cost of utility, you have to integrate because you have to calculate at 12 mld. So you have to integrate because the again the supply may vary from 0 to 12. So that's why you have to integrate it from 0 to 12 mld, and the integrating function is the your supply function. So it again it may be your it may be convex or concave with respect to the origin, or it may be some random functions also. So that's why integration is the proper way of your calculating the cost per utility. But for those who don't know the integration, so that's why it is given as a linear function in our case, and just you have to calculate the area under the supply curve from 0 to 12. So it is again represented by a trapezium, and similar just like the area under the your demand curve, the area under the supply curve will also be calculated as half of the summation of the lines which are parallel to each other, that is 0 to 10 is one line, and this is another line, that is your 0 to 20. So 20 half of summation of those lines into the distance between the two lines, which is your basically nothing, the perpendicular distance is nothing but your 12, just like your previous one. So it will be, if you simplify it, it will be rupees 180,000 only. I hope again it is clear. So the area under the curve, the trapezium, it is rupees 180,000 only. You can there are many ways actually to calculate the answer to the problem. So how so you can imagine it as two areas. You can say that it is area of the rectangle plus area of the triangle. So it may be your area of the rectangle will be 10 into 12, so that is 120. The area of the triangle will be will this triangle will be half into base into height, or half into, you can assume this base as this as height. So anyways it will be half into your 12 into 10 to 20, that means 10. So 6 into 60, so 60, and this was your 120, right? So 60 plus 120, again it will come to be 180. in this way you can willingness to pay this area also you can calculate. So area sum of this triangle plus area of this rectangle also you can calculate as you like. Or you may also, if you want to go like this way, so you can determine the demand function also. So there are several ways that dq will be simply dq only. And how can you calculate the demand function? That means your cost s, you may assume cost as s or y with respect to q. So you may there are actually many ways. So uh, there are some formulas are there. So it is basically your y minus x1 your or x2 or whatever, so equals to, there will be one slope term into your let's say y minus here it will be your x1 I think. Now in the slope there will be some denominator term, some numerator term will be there. So there you have to take 2 points for that. So in this case those two points will be your this so for this curve, for the demand function. So there will be 0 comma 40 and your 12 comma 20. These will be the 2 points. And in your that is called the supply cut, those 2 points will be your 0 comma 10 and your 12 comma 20. So here will be y2 minus so I think it will be I don't actually remember the formula. So there is some formula. So after that, after simplification of that formula, so you can put the values of those 2 points in that formula, and based on that you can get the function, demand function. Here it is linear. Some, if it is not linear, then some think some problem, some function may be given to you like e to the power x or something. I mean e to the power x, not ex will be in your q, like e to the power q or something. So the function may be given to you like that way. So in that case you have to apply. I don't know the prerequisite. What is the prerequisite of this course? If integration and differentiation, those things which are there in the +2 level of mathematics, if those prerequisites are there, then the questions may be further complicated like that way. But here it is your only your linear. So here the area under the curve is basically uh, expressed as the area of the trapezium. So it may be further complicated. So there you can determine the, either you have to determine the function or the function may be given to you like that. So I hope it is clear. So any question? So the answer will be the first question. Answer to the first question will be your 360,000, which is this area. It is acceptable range is 340 and 350. In between, if your answer lies, then it will be correct. And the consumer surplus for a current demand of 12 mld will be this area minus this area, which will be the area of the triangle, which is basically your 120,000, and the total cost of utility, which is basically area under the supply curve up to 12 mld, which will be your 100 110 to 100. Sorry, I think there is a problem. So the range will be a bit different. So it may be your 150 to 200. It is your acceptable range. So it will be your 180,000. So as I'll correct this range and I'll upload the slides accordingly. So this is your correct answer. This is 360, 120, and 180. So I think from the card you are able to uh, clearly understand uh, the, I mean the answers you are able to understand correctly. So now if any question is there you can ask. Only Ajim is there, so if you are unable to understand you can ask. Otherwise I'll move it to the last problem, to the next problem. I think only one problem is left and time is also almost 10 minutes is left, so we will solve one more problem with the time. uh, okay, so I think we can move on. So the last problem is for establishing a water park in a city, the following four proposals were put forward. Uh, so proposal one is total cost of rupees 105 crores and total benefit of rupees 152 crores. Proposal two is total cost of rupees 130 crores and total benefit of rupees 185 crores. Proposal 3 is total cost of 175 crores and total benefit of 220 crores, and proposal 4 is cost of 193 and benefit of 250. Now, as per the incremental benefit cost ratio method, which we saw in one of the previous MCQs, which proposal will be the most preferred one among these four proposals? Second question is calculate the incremental benefit cost ratio for proposal number 3 and 2. So what is the incremental benefit cost ratio? You have to calculate between these two proposals. And 3 is from the point of view of simple benefit cost ratio method, which proposal will be the most desirable one? This you have to calculate. So yes, these are the three questions. This is the last problem. You can type your answer in the chat box. I'll wait for 2 minutes. Then we'll proceed. So last problem, I think it was clear. The area under the card, the why the demand and supply, those things are clear. I think the last problem. So if somebody after recording see any problem in that, they can ask a question in the forum. So here in this problem, you can see from 105 to 130 to 130 to 175 to 175 to 193, and from proposal 1 to 4 the benefits also from 152 to 250, it is all the both the cost and benefit are gradually increasing. So these are actually required for your incremental benefit methods, because for increment to calculate the incremental benefits, basically you have to uh, the actually the benefits and the costs, the values must be in your ascending order. So here in the questions, those are in ascending order, so it is already provided, so you don't have to worry about that. Otherwise it may be told that please arrange those values in ascending order first, then calculate the all the three things. So in the questions it is provided. You don't have to worry about that. Then you just calculate these three values. First one is which proposal will be the most preferred one. Third option is also which proposal is the most desirable one. But in first one, you have to calculate. I mean, you have to determine the which one proposal is most preferred depending on the incremental benefit cost ratio method. And the third one is you have to determine based on the simple benefit cost ratio method. So one is incremental benefit, and one is simple benefit. Incremental benefit means how much is getting incremented from one proposal to other proposal. So the delta in between two proposals, two consecutive proposals, will come into the picture in this method, in the first method, and in the third method, simple simple ratio. So no delta will be there. And also you have to calculate the incremental benefit cost ratio for the proposal number P3 over P2. Mm. Okay, so I think we are having only 6 minutes or so. I can proceed with the solution. Okay, so number one, you are telling P4. I think if you have done it correct. Okay, all are 0.58 and P1. P1 is correct. I think proposal one for this. Yes, it is correct. Now option. So you have studied you have listened to the lectures and it is good. So that's why you are able to answer. To number two, I don't actually remember the value. So it may be. I mean, if I understood it, it's okay. So I also don't remember. I may have been wrong also in calculating. So we'll see the solution. So I think you have calculated correctly number one and three. So that's why you are able to answer. So number two also we'll see. So I think it will be not 5-8. It will be 7-8. I think. Okay. So I may be also wrong in calculation. So we'll see the procedure only for the sake of recording. So actually we have to form a table to solve these kind of problems. So this table will take 5 minutes for explaining the table for the sake of recording. So there are four proposals. Those are given in the question. And in the question, the total costs for these proposals and total benefits for the proposals are given. So that's why in the table we have written those values. So these are all the four costs of the four proposals, and these are the total benefits in terms of costs which are coming out from those projects. So the units are basically your rupees, crores of rupees. So units is not mentioned because all are in same units. So we have not mentioned those units. These are all in rupees, crores, rupees in crores in rupees, crores of rupees. Okay. So however, we can see that we can apply the incremental benefit method because in the case of all the costs and benefit, in both the cases these are gradually increasing from 105 to 193 and total benefit 150 to 250. So all both the cost and benefit, these I mean the proposals are arranged in terms of ascending order of cost and benefit. Then in simple benefit to cost ratio, it is your basically B by C. So for each proposal, uh, by benefit by cost, it will be your benefit to cost ratio. So for proposal 1, it is 1.45. For proposal 2, it is 1.42. For proposal 3, it is 1.26. And proposal 4, it is 1.29. If we just divide B with the C, then you will get these values in each of the proposals. And from the simple benefit to cost ratio, we can see that in proposal 1, the benefit is highest because the cost is kind of you have to spend some money for the project, and means this is the financial benefit out of the project. So the more the ratio means the more the project will be preferable. And in simple benefit to cost ratio method, we can see that project 1 has got the highest benefit to cost ratio. So Ajim has calculated it correctly that project 1 will be the most preferable in simple benefit to cost ratio terminology. Okay. Now, as I said, that incremental benefit and incremental cost. So there is one method that is called incremental benefit cost ratio method. So where the B by C, this term will be your delta B by delta C. And what will be the delta B by delta C? Those will be your incremental. That means for one particular project, the value of delta B or delta C, we will calculate the value based on any one of its previous project. So for P2, there is only one previous project, P1. And for P1, there is no previous project. So for incremental benefit to cost ratio, there are some people who actually consider the benefit cost ratio to be equal to the incremental benefit cost ratio. So some people will consider 1.5 here only, but actually in reality P1 actually don't have any delta B by C terminology. So but for P2 it will be compared with P1. So we will calculate the delta B in terms of 185, that is B2, minus 152, that is B1. So it comes out to be 33. In incremental cost delta C, it will be P2 minus, yes, C of P2 minus C of P1. So it will come out to be 25. Now the ratio of the two, that is delta B by delta C, will come out to be 33 by 25 equals to 1.32. Now we cannot compare between P1 and P2 because in the both cases, I mean in terms of benefit to simple benefit cost ratio, the P1 is obviously better than P2. But in terms of uh, incremental benefit cost ratio, these two cannot be compared, because one is having incremental benefit and another one is not having incremental benefit at all, because there is no P0 kind of thing. Okay. Now for P3, if we just consider it with respect to P2, then the incremental benefit cost ratio comes out to be 0.78. I think Ajim, probably you have calculated it with respect to P1, I believe. So delta B delta C P4 is wrongly written. Okay, actually any of the, okay, we'll see. Okay. So the thing is that we are incrementally we are benefit calculating the benefits. So you may consider P3 in terms of P1 also. You can consider P3 in terms of P2 also. So here so if you are considering all the benefits in terms of P1, so then you can consider uh, this delta B by delta C in terms of P1 in all the three cases, that is P2, P3 and P4. But here in this case, I am considering the delta B and delta C in terms of only the previous one. So that's why the delta B will be B2 minus B1 in P2. That will be B3 minus B2 in case of P3, and that will be B3 minus B4 minus B3 in case of P4. So only this delta of two consecutive proposals I am considering here. So that's why. Otherwise, you can consider all with respect to P1. That means you can consider B2 minus B1, B3 minus B1, B4 minus B1 in all the three cases, or C2 minus C1, C3 minus C1, and C4 minus C1 in all the three cases. So then in that case, the ratio will be something else, and in our case, it will be in the third case, it is considered as this. So you probably P4, okay. But the question it has been asked to calculate the P3. There is only one before the P3, that is P2. So that's why we are considering B2 and C2 here, because one has not got any your incremental benefit. So that's why it came up to be 0.78. But I think you have probably calculated it with respect to 1. So that's why it came out to be 0.5. Anyways, I mean, you have to mention that I calculated with respect to this one. So that's why it got something. But generally, it is uh, beneficial to consider with respect to the previous one. Okay. So now I think it is correctly calculated. So it will be your for 35 divided by 45, that means 7 divided by 9. So it will be your 0.7777 like that, 0.78 approximately. Now in the fourth case, it will be your B4 minus B3, that means 193 minus 175 equals to 18. And delta C will be C4 minus 33. Sorry, I told it incorrectly. So it will be 250 minus 220. Benefit will be your, yes, you have told it correctly. So it is your okay, yes, true. So this one will be your 30 and this one will be your 18. Yes, right. You are right. So it is written as wrong. So it will be your 13 and it will be your 18. Yes. Thank you for identifying the mistake. And your the ratio will be delta V by delta C equals to 30 divided by 18. That means your 10 divided by, no, not 10. So, so 10 divided by 6, that means your 5 divided by 3, that means your 1.6666 like that, right? So 1.67 is approximately. Now you can see that P4 is preferred over P2. Why? Because your the delta B by delta C, just like B by C value. So here one was preferred over all. Here P4 is preferred over all because P4 is preferred over P2. So that's why, and P2 is also preferred over P3. So P4 is obviously preferred over P3. So that means P4 is preferred over all. So now whatever the answer was given, so option 1 in case of simple benefit cost ratio, proposal 4 is the correct option. And if you consider P3 over P2, so if the question was something else, that means if it was said that you have to calculate the incremental benefit of P3 over P1, then you have to calculate like that way. So then you have to calculate C3 minus C1. Here you have to take B3 minus B1. So in the question is clearly mentioned that you have to calculate P3 over P2. So that's why we are considering this delta. So incremental benefit in terms of consecutive two proposals we are considering. So that's why it came out to be 0.78. And the third one, that is from the point of view of simple benefit ratio method, the P1 became the most desirable one. I think it is clear. So you have both 1 and 3 you have calculated correctly. Maybe 2 you have done some mistake, but it is true. I mean, it is. I think it is. You are able to understand. So now I have taken 5 more minutes. Okay. Sorry for that. I don't think any problem is there after this. So thank you. Only some correction to be made. So I'll correct this range. I'll correct and I'll post the PPT in your in the drive, and then I'll upload the recordings in your in the YouTube channel, and I'll update with the link. Okay, so I think we're at the end. So if you are having any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we will leave, we'll stop the recording and we will end the session after 1 minute. Thank you. Thank you. You are definitely attending the session. Some people attended in the middle. Some people left. Maybe we can give the attendance as 5, just like the other sessions. So we can end the session now. We will meet in the next session. This will get. Thank you. Okay. don't you don't have to cancel your